to really sink your sternum, sink your tailbone down, and soften your gaze. Keep your eyes open just for this moment here. And choose a spot in the near distance and look at it. Don't need to stare hard. It's just looking at it and softening your gaze so that you are literally allowing your perspective to expand into the horizon. And see if you can look even deeper so that your gaze is penetrating through the spot into the cosmos, into wide open space. It's as though you are looking through the wall. Let your vision really travel far and wide, softening your gaze even more. And breathe. Hold that breath in. And as you exhale, exhale really slowly. And with that, you can close your eyes. Letting yourself land in the center of your head, inside, behind the third eye. And let yourself know you can rest here. And as you rest in the center of your head, allow yourself to be in there, really feel yourself in there. Because as you look up, you can see the inside of your skull from the inside. If you look to the sides, you can see the top part of your ears. If you look out, you can see through your third eye. And if you looked back, you can see the back of your head from the inside. And let yourself be a liquid light form, flowing gently towards the back of your head, and down through your scalp, to the base of your skull, and into your neck, sending a wave of peaceful light down the neck, relaxing your shoulders, opening up your shoulder joints and your shoulder blades, flowing down through your arms, relaxing the elbow joints, and the wrist joints are opening. Relax the hands, and at the same time, flow down your face, relaxing your facial muscles. Let the wave of peace move down into your jaw, softening your jaw, down the throat, sinking your sternum even more now into the chest. Relax and release the chest all the way down to your solar plexus and into your belly. Let the spine begin to be soft and supple. Opening up every part of you inside. Be the one inside of you. Come towards that space below the navel. in the center of your wisdom center, the belly. And rest here for a moment, at peace with all of creation. And continue to flow further down through the tailbone. Release the stickiness in your tailbone, just let it go. And continue to flow through, opening up your hip joints. Let your pelvic bowl relax and release, becoming ever so light. All the way down to the legs, your thighs, all the way down to your shins and your feet, and every toe. All right, beautiful. Now allow yourself to slowly breathe the light up, all the way up into your body, from the toes up to the heart. That's right. Fill, fill, fill. Bring yourself into fulfillment and let your heart be whole. Let your heart feel the excitement of life. Let your heart feel the joy of what is to come. Let your heart remember how incredible it feels to be the creator of your reality. Let your desires be the activation. Thought sends out the signal and creates the vibration of your field. So let this be known. Let this amplify your energy field. Let it land with the knowing that you are here to be the light. That you are the light. Thank you. Coming back in here, welcoming the presence of our ancestors, spirit guides, the ascended masters, and pure divine light, and the great Tea Spirit to guide us, to hold space for this powerful transmission to be anchored in within us for the highest transformation to begin. Thank you. All right, beautiful ones. How are you feeling as this lands in your body? I don't know about you, but I was feeling more light coming into my body already. I can feel the light in the field with all of you connecting with it as source was streaming through so powerfully. I want to know how you're feeling. If you feel that too, let me know in the comments if you're me. If you're me. Yes, if you're me. If you're me, if you're just like me, you're feeling it too. Hello, Eve. I can see you here. Welcome. Jacqueline, all right, I can see your comments. We're going to get into it because what you want is exactly what you can create. And if there's any part of you that feels like you're not able to, or that you've tried and you've tried and you've tried and you don't know why it's not happening, all of those things, we're going to dive into it. So let me know what's going on with you. Okay, let's have a conversation here. Let's bring this possibility of communing with each other to reality. Yeah. All right, so this is a little taste of what is possible for all of us when you come into my mastermind or my mentorship. I really want to say, first and foremost, I absolutely have been witnessing and observing what has been happening and what has been already happening. I'm not just talking about what's been happening recently, but literally just over the couple of years that I have been walking this sacred path. And the thing that really comes back again and again is this memory that I want to share with you, which is I used to work as a journalist. So I used to work as a journalist. I used to work in media. I can tell you from behind the scenes, from what I have gone through and experienced, that there is one aspect, and there can be always this discernment that you can carry within you about why certain information is being disclosed and why now. And you don't need to dive into a rabbit hole about this. It really is about choosing to honor your own creation, like the life that you want to create. It's not about denying what information is being floated around there. It's not about hiding from it, because we are multidimensional women who are here to lead, and we're not hiding from anything. But it's more about understanding why these information are out there and the kind of response or reactions that they are seeking to elicit. And unfortunately, more than trying to end a situation or give you the kind of closure that you were hoping, most often these sort of information is out there to really obfuscate us, to confuse us when something greater is actually happening. And I really want to say this because it's really important, because I see that even in the, spiritual, I do this quote unquote, because I don't even know what that even means anymore right now in this community that is perpetuating, the kind of intensity in the general space, which is social media now. It's really interesting to see that people have turned from media, because they thought that media was sharing fake news, to social media, which is also sharing a lot of, I would say, fake news, in the sense that it actually sensationalizes and tantalizes your emotions and your nervous system without you even realizing it, because it's even closer to home. It's like people you follow, the people that you listen to, the people that you respect. And please breathe. I know this is a very heavy subject for some of you, but I really wanted to get this out of the way. And also confront it, to really confront it head on. So whether it's about, those things about like, you need to talk about it, or whether you don't need to talk about it, like it's your choice. There's no right or wrong about it. And also the way you want to talk about it, the way you don't want to talk about it, is also your choice. There is no right or wrong about it. You can do all the right things, and there will always be someone who will still say that it's not the right way to do it. And please breathe. Social media loves sensationalization. Period. The algorithm pushes it. The algorithm doesn't like talks about peace or stillness or, and I know this because I don't get pushed out into the mass media. The content that I put out, which is really about instilling stillness in your life, to live from stillness, to create from stillness, which I want to dive into today, it doesn't get pushed out. And I see that over and over again, versus content where I can, I put on a sexier dress, or when I talk about something that is very mass and it's almost become a trend, it gets pushed out. Why? So we want to really be very aware of these things, that it's all one aspect. It's only an aspect. We're not seeing the whole truth. So whether we are canceling someone or raising someone with praise and, well done, good job, whatever, they are literally a different side of the same coin. And I really want to bring this forward because it's so important. I'm going to link it back to the foundational aspect of who we are and why we feel we are not enough sometimes, why we feel that consciously we get it. Consciously, I know that I need to do the things that I need to do to get to where I want to be, but I can't seem to get on board with it. My subconscious is raging. Why? Right? Because it's 99% of why is literally what you are allowing into your energy field, what you're allowing into your subconscious. Like, it's literally coming into your thoughts. It's coming in. It's like when you're so unconscious about it, it just stays there. And the more it stays there, the feeling tones, the subtle feeling tones will start to really influence your thought forms. And that is what often, when we are able to sense energy, we can really sense, she's saying all the right things, but I sort of feel like there's something here that I don't know what it is, but it's kind of off, right? And I want to say this because it's really important. It's really important in a space where, for example, for me, I just want to share a little bit about this and let me know if it resonates, is that oftentimes I work with women who are considerably high performing. They lead teams, or they are mothers who take good, real care of the family and also have a full-time job. And you have a lot on your plate, right? And you have to be, so aware of the fact that you also chose to say yes to having a spiritual devotion. Like, you also said, I want to create an incredible life and I want to devote myself to really getting clarity and this wakefulness in life, that I don't go back to sleep, that I don't go back into a hazy, ignorant state, right? And this is something that is so important, because when we embark on this path, oftentimes we embark on this path because we have come to a point in our lives where the old paradigm no longer works for us. And please breathe. You may feel that, I was raised to, for example, me, I've always been raised to believe that, I have a really incredible father who used to have this poster that he put in my room. I used to share a bedroom with my sister. And the poster would say, if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. And my dad was like a big motivational speaker in his office, like in his company. And, I never really grew up appreciating it until I do right now. And this is so interesting because no matter what my father was doing in his life, which was personal development, he was really big on it, and my mom too, they never really thought that we would be interested as children. And so they never really thought, oh, you know what, we're going to share the nuggets of wisdom. We're just going to share like the bits and pieces, like that poster. Like, he would just put it there, but like he would just be like, okay, just read it every single day. But he would never say, your mind is going to be like this and da 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 da. Why do you have to be aware of your conscious mind and your subconscious mind? Why do you have to be aware of your thoughts? Like, your thought creates your reality. Like, we had no freaking idea about this. Hello, Carla. Welcome. And so growing up, I really had to, I went through 20 years of my life, sunk deep in a really bad case of eating disorders because I really thought that, in order for me to be loved and validated in my life, it depended on the validations of others. So if they said that I'm thin, that I'm thin enough, but actually I need to work better. I need to be more disciplined. I need to be even better than what they think that I am capable of. If they said that, your grades are not great, go back and study harder, and I would study harder, but it doesn't eradicate or it doesn't address the very, very deep, settled belief that I'm not good enough. And please breathe. If anyone feels that way, please let me know. So if I kept thinking, if my belief was, I'm not good enough, so I need to always be working harder, that I would always need to be giving more to get more, then it will constantly be building upon this very chaotic state inside of me. And this is very simple explanation is when you lose the weight, it comes back. Because you never change the mindset of yourself, of who you are, your self-image, for example. So as I journeyed on this path, after recovery, I remember I was still working in media. I had this I had a very good look at behind the scenes of how the media wants to portray something. And they would portray it in that way. And people are just so gullible, like literally, like they just take in what's being shown to you. And please breathe. Because sometimes we do this unconsciously. We really do. Like someone could come up to you and say, for example, maybe you have this favorite, like someone that you deeply admire. And then someone else could come up to you and say, that person really has done something really incredibly horrible. And, we don't love him anymore. We don't like him anymore. And then you're like, oh God, am I wrong to say otherwise? Like, is it okay for me to just take a step back and really like assess what's going on, to gather more information before I react, before I say anything, And I think in the world that we live in now, it's becoming incredibly insane where it's like, if you don't react in 24 hours, you're like the worst kind of person, And please breathe. I feel a lot of movement of energy here as I speak this. And so it's very important right now for us as leaders of light to really come back to the foundation of the work that we're here to do. I don't want to build upon chaos. I don't want to build upon chaos which is within me of like, oh, I just need to fix. I need to continuously plug in something in case chaos ensues if I don't kind of mentality. I want to come back to what is essentially who we truly are, which is freaking stillness. I call it stillness. You can call this stillness as presence. You can call it the unified field. You can call it source. But it is a profound stillness that is so dynamic. It offers you limitless potential because you are the highest creation of source. You are limitless. And we want to just really be so aware of that possibility, of that potential. And the work here now is to know that we are meant to bring this potential into reality. We are meant to be divine in action. You know, we're not just talking and mentally conceiving what is possible and dreaming and visioning, and then once we hit something, we're like, oh my God, it's too much. I need to hide. I need to go away. I can't take this. My nervous system can't take it. We have to become so capable of holding all parts of who we are in order for us to hold all parts of the world. And please breathe. You know, I see Jacqueline's beautiful comment here, which is, I want to create in my life a career helping people without depleting myself, having them appreciate me, pay me well, fill my own cup, and give to others from the overflow. And my question to you is, why not? Why can't you? Why can't you do that? Turn that want and make that decision. Like, it's a decision. The want is just the singular focus. That path is opening up for me. The minute you say, I want, that path is already open. The door is already open. And the work here is really to walk, to keep going. You don't need to know how all the way, like every step of the way. It's about that singular focus on, I know. The reason why I can want it is because it is for me. It wants me just as much as I want it. And this is the path for us leaders of light. This is the path to really say, what is this challenge emptying out of me? Because every challenge that we run into, every resistance that we run into is so oftentimes for us to empty out something within us. And when I say empty out, it really is so powerful, because once you release something that is no longer serving you, something new can come in. There's space for it. Yeah. And I want to share a little bit about the ancient ones. And I want to bring this energy in because today when I was sitting in ceremony with tea, I was visited by the powerful energy of the master, one of the most beautiful tea masters ever, who has ever lived. His name was Senno Rikyu. And I had such a powerful time sitting with his spirit, because when he came into the scene with tea ceremony, he was a master of tea ceremony. He created a lot of rituals surrounding tea ceremonies in Japan at a time when warlords, feuding was the norm. And the people that he served were, you know, samurais. They were fighting all the time, like feuds over lands and people being boiled to nothing, you know, hates cut off. All that sort of stuff was happening day in and day out. And this master here was literally teaching these warlords how to find stillness, how to sit in a tiny tatami room with literally nothing in there and appreciate the beauty. The beauty of a singular leaf that fell from the tree. The beauty of a wispy, wintry branch placed in a vase. These are warlords who compare with each other, who fight with each other for the most expensive gold and all the treasures that you can gather in the country and beyond. And they used to bring in imports from China to, you know, to fight with each other, to compete with each other, say which one's more expensive, which one is more priceless. And here we have a master who says, these are not as exquisite as this thing, this pot or this bowl that was handcrafted by a farmer down in South Korea. Literally. So how did he become literally the master of all the masters? I sat with his energy and I really appreciated the transmission he brought in, because it was very clear that stillness is the anchor of the new paradigm. Stillness has never disappeared. It's always been here. It's just that through the dramatics and the sensationalization of what's louder and what's more flashy out in the world, it's sort of gotten buried or put to the side, but it's never changed. It's never gone away. And the ancient ones like Senno Rikyu, they are still remembered today, but they didn't create that imagery or that reputation through dramatics or war that slaughtered thousands of people. His ending was really quite profound. He was working with a samurai master, a shogun, I believe, called Hideyoshi. And Hideyoshi is one of the most cruel masters that you can ever have. He was one of the warlords who wanted to conquer literally China and Korea, and he was just doing all the things that was just abhorrent. And he didn't like it when someone built a statue for Rikyu. So he ordered Rikyu to commit seppuku. Seppuku means suicide in honor. And Rikyu did without batting an eyelid. Like, he just committed the seppuku. And of course, Hideyoshi, the story goes that Hideyoshi was so regretful of what he did. And Rikyu's reputation lives on today. His work has created so much beyond the rituals of tea. It's really about finding harmony and beauty in the unknown, beauty in the mystery. There is a saying that he died in every ceremony. And I love this because I personally have experienced this. I always say this, that I die every ceremony, so there's no need for my ego to go through any dark night of the soul, whatever you want to call it, because my ego died in every ceremony. And this is the profound elevation, the frequency that you enter when you enter into a ceremony with tea with me. This is what I intend, that I set in the space, the frequency to hold you. Because the more we are able to see through what our ego, and it's becoming so sophisticated, right? Like, literally, you think it's awareness from the mind. You think it's the awareness of a meditative mind, but actually it's your control. Your mind is still trying to control your spiritual life. Your mind is still trying to control you. You can, there are so many ways you can do it. But often what I hear from my clients is like, I want peace. I crave to have all of the stillness that I can have. But that's not what I'm talking about when I talk about stillness. That's not what I'm talking about, or what I'm transmitting to you when I'm transmitting stillness. What I'm asking you for in the beginning is the willingness to give yourself over to profound emptiness. Can you be nothing? That is the question, right? Because if you can understand this part, let me know. Okay. I don't want to go too far and too deep and you have no freaking clue what I'm talking about, but these are things that I really, I I really take you into with a proper, in one-to-one mentorship, it's like at least 3 months, but we can walk 3 months, 6 months, 12 months together. And when I talk about the ancient ones, I also want to make a note that there is a mastermind that I'm enrolling right now only for women. And we want to walk with these ancient ones. We really want to walk as the sages, who really kept such a level head during times of chaos, literally when kingdoms were in chaos. And these are the spirits, these are the ancestors that are guiding us through this space that I've opened up called the Ancient Ones. And it really is for someone who appreciates the sacred reverence of ancestry, of ancestral wisdom, of ceremony. And that, in all the things that we're doing, if there is no aspect of the spirit, it's not going to be complete. Right? You can study mindset, you can hire a business coach, you can do so many things, but if your spiritual work is not done, if it's ignored, if it's being put on the shelf, it's going to be really hard for you to feel this kind of satisfaction which is complete, because spiritual initiation, spiritual work is actually not separate from our lives, and I really, really feel that the reason why so many of us today feel so lost and depressed is really because we have lost that spiritual aspect. We have lost connection with our spiritual self, the higher self. And it's not like they've gone. It's really very much alive. It's here. It's just whether we want to cultivate that connection, that relationship, right? To walk as the soul that you came here to be. I mean, you are a soul having a human experience. It's not it's not a surprise for you. I'm sure you know this. But what does that actually feel like? What does that feel like when your soul is experiencing life, rather than you being dragged along by your mind's confusing thoughts and threats of worries and anxieties, and then things that are happening outside of you as well, right? So much that's going on outside of you is actually really it's such a good mirror of what's going on within you, actually. And please breathe. I'm going to take a sip of water. Let me know what's landing, what's not landing, before I go on. Now, okay. So we can talk about the mind, we can talk about nervous system regulation and all this stuff, but just like the woman that I spoke of who lost weight and then the weight came back, right? Why does that usually happen? And for me, I mean, there's 1,000 reasons why, but for me, how I would work with this is I really want to see your soul. I want to speak with your soul. I want to work with your energy field. I want to work with the subtle tones that surround your thoughts. And it can switch so quickly. Like you can make a decision, and when the energy supports it, it's like a momentum and it keeps going. And that's when you know, like, I will never go back to that again, because that's no longer me. I became who I am, right? So, all right. Let me take a pause. Eve, I can see your message. I also studied journalism. Oh, amazing. When I came out of school, and it's really interesting to see social media, beware the truth of news. Yeah, exactly. I feel like maybe, let's put it this way. I do sincerely give the benefit of the doubt. Like maybe they truly felt like it's the right thing to say. And so that's why I have so much compassion for someone who who puts this out in a frequency that's different from another person. And I also feel like at the same time, if someone wishes to focus on what they do best, which is not talking about what's going on, I fully respect that as well. And I think the harder part of this whole thing, that we are confronting right now in the world, especially when we have so many people that we really respected being exposed as something else. I think the hardest part, and this is something I go deeper in my mentorship spaces, is that we have to find the compassion for even the hardest person to give it to. And the reason why I say this is because if we are able to do that, we can give compassion to ourselves, because you can't give compassion to someone if you don't have it for yourself, especially the lesser parts of yourself, the parts where your mind thinks is a lesser part. Okay. And it's really important. This is how we evolve. This is how we keep moving forward. And if there's a resistance, it's actually a really good thing. It's a really good thing, because it means that you're going in the right direction. Every seed that has sprouted, they experience resistance. They had to push really hard through their kernel. They had to push really hard through their soil. And for us as multidimensional women today, my hope is that I can guide you to live and create from stillness, which means that you don't do things that are not aligned with your nature. You see, your nature is expressed in a different way from another person. And so when I see journalism expressed in a certain way, I always ask, what is it portraying? Like, what is it trying to portray? It's the same thing with movies. It's the same thing with TV series, documentaries. It's like, what are they trying to portray without bringing skepticism into it, but just being very open-hearted with what is this trying to portray? Why is it, portrayed in this way? Why are they showing this clip? Because they're not showing the whole clip, right? So we have to be aware. I'm not saying judge, okay? I'm just saying be very aware. And the really beautiful part about the practice that I have when I work with tea is that I can really sharpen this skill of detecting subtle energies and also dropping my judgment of how it should be, how I should be. And it's been really like quite a journey. Let's be real. I'm not saying it's easy at all. But when I had that moment, when it came to me, like, have compassion for the people who are doing really big things and fucked up. And also, one last thing I want to say about this is be aware of how they are portraying people who can be labeled as wealthy. Be aware of how they're portraying it, and don't let that affect how you see wealth, how you know the truth of wealth is. You see, what these people have chosen to do has nothing to do with you, really. In a lot of ways, it has nothing to do with you, and yet we feel like it affects us deeply because we're humans. It is. But we have to keep recommitting to our purpose, to why we're here, to our highest service. I'm sure if you're here, if you're listening to me, you intend to hold wealth in order to do incredible things in the world. As you see me here, right, sitting here, I'm considered as a minority in the country that I live in. And because of the upbringing I had, coming from poverty, also not living as the original citizens in the country that I grew up in, I was raised with a lot of paradigms where I believe that, we can never make big money unless we can have this kind of jobs, the certain list of jobs, like you would know, doctor, accountant, all those stuff, right? So the fact that I can sit here, I had to break through so many paradigms. Like I had to release them. I had to really find compassion for those older paradigms that were given to me. In my family, when I said that I wanted to be a journalist, do you know like how many people were against it? Like every single person. Like they were like, you're not going to find any money. Like you're going to be out on the streets. Like you can't be a writer. You can't be a journalist. Go study something else like sales or marketing. For me to move out of these paradigms, like I had to be so singularly focused. And when I say that, I mean wholeheartedly, like feeling it in my heart that I know this is the way. That's not going to be any other way. No matter what's being shown, no matter how hard it is. When I was going through university, college actually, every single person told me like, you're not going to get into a university in the UK with the college diploma that you have. And I say, fuck it. Like I say, I don't believe you. I'm going to work so hard to get to what I want to go. And it's not just working hard. It was just like a real wholehearted belief that I know I'm going to go to the UK and this is going to happen. And I don't know how. I just know that this way. Keep going. And now we're in this beautiful space where all of you here, I'm sure, you have this ability to tap into multiple dimensions. You have this ability to feel the unseen, to commune with the unseen. And everything begins in the unseen. We are at a very prime position here, so let's not forget who we are. Let's not forget the power we hold in our light. Okay. Lisa is saying, the stillness is landing profoundly. I wish this live was being recorded. You've shared many gems. Well, Lisa, the best news is that it will be recorded. It's going to be on my Instagram page. So you can check that out. And also like, I usually upload it on my YouTube. It takes a little longer for me to upload onto YouTube, but it will be there. So if you come on into one of those platforms, just give me a shout. Let me know you're there. I would love to connect with you. Stark, I think I've seen you before here, so welcome. We live in a culture globally of noise and mimicry, and we call it progress. Yes. And by into wishing ourselves into this paradigm, it drives us away from ourselves and co-ops ideas, turning them into products. It is exhausting. Yeah. Stillness is the answer. Can we be quiet enough to hear it? Can we say less and tune in collectively? Absolutely. In all honesty, when I started, when I had this beautiful conception of the mastermind, the ancient ones, like I knew it was going to be a different mastermind because we're going to be in stillness so much. We're going to let the energy work its way. We're going to be so certain of the stillness that we hold so that when we go out there, we can bring this out into the world because ultimately that's what we want. This is what we're here to do. We're not here to, we're the mystics, the modern mystics that are not here to live in an ashram or in the caves. We bring the caves out there. We bring the ashrams out there with our energy field. This is who we are, the temple. So it's so much more than that. And it's about how can we look. Today I shared something on my Instagram where I shared my tea room where the spirit of the ascended masters and the ancestors can be felt. And this is something that is not like something I just plucked out of the air. It's something I cultivate every single day when I come into this space. It's the same for you. Where you sit in your room, where you tune into this, like your body is resonating with this frequency. And every day as you do it, every day, that space that you cultivate is going to resonate with that higher frequency. And that's why someone can walk into this room and be like, completely, wow. Like every time someone comes into this room, and I'm not bragging, I'm just sharing so that you feel inspired. They literally come into this room and they'll be like, wow. But they don't even know why. Like the other day, there was this guy who came to tend to our garden because we have some overgrown trees. And he's definitely probably not someone who's like, who's into these things. And he just walked in and he was like, wow. Like, wow. Like you can feel his frequency completely changed. It's the vibration. It's who you are. When you come in, when you enter a space, make no mistake, you're bringing something to the space, even though you're the quieter one, right? How many of you feel that way? Like you just wish that you could be the louder one, or like the one who's like, ooh, you know, like I'm here, I'm Tony Robbins. But it's like, you don't have to be Tony Robbins. You just have to be you, and to be so fucking proud of the stillness, the power that you hold in your stillness, the power that you hold in your presence, that there's no mistake about it when people enter your field, you know, and that's how you transform. And this is the most remarkable thing, because I've witnessed this over and over again, is that I don't have to go out of my way for you to feel me. Like I can be completely still and the transmission can be complete in that. And please breathe. Carla, welcome Carla. Good to see you here. There's another component to this. We are coming out of a time where everything was heavily controlled. Yeah. The problem for them is they thought they could control our divine nature through perpetual manipulation. Deception is hubris, because truth always prevails. I believe what I have is an opening of floodgates of things people haven't been allowed to say and process. Yeah. So the stillness is imperative because it allows you in hearing the voice within and vibrate with those in alignment. Then we can truly discern and decide. The stillness actually facilitates authentic communication. Yeah. Let me tell you something here. You know, we talk about this stillness, and I can see that you are on board with this. You get what I'm saying. I want to bring you further here now. When we can feel stillness, and please take a deep breath. When we can still feel stillness, when we can still define stillness, it's not really complete. There's still one last step to return to a full natural state of divine existence. Let's put it that way. You have to let go of stillness. You have to even let go of that. Like, it has to be so natural to the point where you don't think you're in stillness. You get what I'm saying? When you're in that zone, the God zone, the bosom of source, like you're in that embrace, you release that. You have transformed it, and then you have to release it. And it's so profound. And I feel that there are women who are ready for this, because we have to continue to evolve. And I feel like if we don't, we're going to be so stuck. We're going to be so stuck at the level of still very ego driven. You know, we're attached to a certain state. And you see this a lot. You see it in people who are constantly going into ayahuasca, going on trips, going to all the things. And again, no judgment. It's fantastic I've never done ayahuasca. I probably won't, but going on trips, going on pilgrimages, like, hey, sign me up, right? What I'm trying to say here is, if you can't be content in your tiny room, you can't be able to find true stillness. And your ego is going to continue to grasp. The grasping is the source of suffering. The grasping is the source of judgment. The grasping is the source of contention, comparison. It's an endless state of looking outside of you for validation. And please breathe, because you can pick up all the techniques, and you will continue to do it. It drives you, like it motivates you, it excites you. It's like, whoo, what is that? But you will never really, really experience the total release. Let's put it that way, the total experience of non-attachment. And you may be sitting there thinking, well, I'm human. I need ego to survive. If I'm not attached, then how am I supposed to live? How am I supposed to go about my day and, take care of my children and feed my husband and my cats and my dogs? How am I going to make money? Right? Your mind is going to get into that state. And I want you to know this. You can fully be operational without your ego driving you. Your ego can exist. It has to, because the I, it tells you how to survive. But that's basically what the ego is for. It's for you to survive. And if you're here, I'm pretty sure you don't just want to survive. You don't just want to survive. You want to really live. And even better, let God live through you. Let life live through you. Let the cosmos unfold through you. Because you're that big. You're that great. You are the highest form of creation. Like literally on earth. The fact that you can decide what circumstances you want to be in means that you are beyond animalistic. You're not just like something that doesn't create. Like there's no creativity. Creation is so fascinating if you go to nature. A seed of an oak tree is always going to grow into an oak tree. It's not going to suddenly turn into, I don't know, like an alpine tree, right? And you are the one thing on earth here who can decide, like, I don't want to be in poverty, or I don't want to be in this relationship anymore, or like, I don't want to be working in, like for me, I didn't want to work in marketing anymore. Like I didn't enjoy it. I can completely switch. I can completely switch my consciousness, everything shifted out of that reality and into a reality of a multidimensional spiritual mentor. My entire being changed. So what happened there? Right? You can shift timelines. And Carla is saying, I find breath work puts me in touch with what you're the breath work, literally breath work is, the breath is who you are. Like without the breath, your body is just a carcass. It's just a box you designed, right? It's spirit. When I learned that I can suspend the breath without dying, being in the suspension gave me a felt sense of, oh yeah, that's amazing. And one of my favorite sacred texts says that God has put eternity in our hearts that we cannot fathom the beginning from. Oh yes, absolutely. 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 That is so profound and so close to us. It's not far. It's not up in heaven. It's not when we are dead and then we can finally arrive. It's like, it's here. It's really, really here. And I really, really, really want to see more women who are deeply in tune, deeply relaxed, let's put it that way, because it's only in a relaxed state that you can truly create at the level of the highest. You know, it's so funny. It's like you literally have to just relax, and not in a way where you pretend you're relaxing, but really getting into a beautiful state. So I am excited for this. I am excited to be part of the momentum to really come through and share the wisdom and the transmission and the energetic illumination and activation. Yeah. If you can want something, it's yours. It wants you. It really is. And put your mind into your heart. Let your mind feel what it's like to be wholehearted again. It's so easy for us, you know, like these days it's so easy to look at something and then suddenly something will shift you, and it's like the shiny object syndrome. And you start to doubt. You start to lose focus. You have to remember who you are, and to have the environment, the space that supports you on this. It's gonna be incredible. It's like the fertilizer to your dreams, the fertilizers to who you're becoming. Like it's this, like the quantum leap that allows you to be that, because you're not stuck in a place where people are telling you it's not possible, or in a scarcity mindset, or like, you know, it's really important. And for those of you, and I can feel this in the field, so I'm just going to say this, for those of you who are really blessed with people who get you and are supporting you, you can go even further. Like you are made to go reach. Let's go for that. What is it that you really, really, really want to create now? Now, let the past remain the past. Let it stay in the past. Right now, what is it that you really want to create? And if you are the one who says, I want to create from the stillness that I am, come on in, drop me a DM, let's chat privately. The mastermind is open. You're very welcome. It's a 12-month mastermind and some pre-sale right now. And I would love to see if you're the right person for that space. No pressure. There's no pushing, no selling. I don't operate in that paradigm. And if you're the one who wants to shift paradigms, this is also for you. This is such a powerful time to move and have the steady energy of the mountains and ceremony and tea spirit and masters, ancestors to hold us. So thank you for your participation and your presence. I really, really appreciate the time that I can have with all of you like this. Just taking a moment here to see if there's any more comments and questions. Oh my gosh, loving this so much. Yes, Susan saying, love what Jacqueline wrote about giving from the overflow. So beautiful. You know, overflow is actually our natural state. It's like so natural that you don't even realize it. It's meant to be that Joy is also our natural state, right? It's really so natural. It's as natural as planting a seed and expecting that it will grow. You just know. And my hope is that you can feel that about stillness as well, that stillness can open doors to be so close to source, to be so close to the divine, not in a way where you're asking, God, source, give me what I want. Can I have more? Can I do this? No, but in a way where you know that you are the expression of source. You are the expression of God, the divine, the universe. Like there's no question about it. The oak tree does not question. Just as you don't question, you're letting it flow through you. And at the same time, finding the balance in moving through the unknown. And you know, I love this saying. It's not mine, but I love this saying. Faith and fear, operate in the same way where you have to believe in the unknown. Faith and fear depends on you believing in the unknown, like literally, but it's just a different way of seeing it. So anyway, Cassandra, welcome. I see you. Beautiful photo. How do we know if ego is taking over? Wow. I feel like this question is really good, and it's also something that is important to address. I feel that you would know if it's your ego, because, and this is the interesting thing that I see, I feel like you would know if you knew how your soul really sounds like or feels like, right? But so many of us in the world today don't even know that, because you are so used to operating from the ego. You're so used to making decisions that are driven by anxiety or worry, fixing, controlling, right? A lot of us are recovering controllers. Let's be real. And so you want to get clear. So I can give you this analogy. Okay, Cassandra? You want to start to clean the window. This window is very grimy. Like you have to start to clear the window, right? To the point where it's so clean that you can look through the window and you're rejoicing and you're like, oh my gosh, but there's still a window. That window is your ego, okay? You want to cultivate the state with the aim of removing the window. But in the meantime, it's okay to know that the window is still there. Just don't hit your head and think that there's no window, and then you put your head through and you hit your head. Have you ever seen a bird that tries to fly through a window and it just hits itself? Oh my God, it's so horrible. But if you can start to clear the window, you will start to understand the language of your own soul, not anyone else's, but your own soul. How it speaks, how it moves you. How does your desire really feel like in your body? Because you can desire from the mental. The mental desires you usually are not yours. It comes from somewhere else. Like, I want that Porsche. I want that, the Aston Martin. I mean, there are people at the soul level who would say that Aston Martin is mine. You see the difference? I know that's mine. I know the house by the beach, one day, that's going to be mine. I can see myself living in that place by the beach, or in the jungles, or in the forest. And oftentimes it will make zero sense. It'll make zero sense. The ego usually will come through like, so since last year you made 500,000, this year you can make 10% more, because that's logical. Like that works. That makes sense, right? And then at the more advanced level, you can even pair your ego with your soul's desires and start working with it. But that's a really more complex state where you have to be so clear. Like you have this crystalline channel and you know distinctively what is what. Because your ego is not a bad thing. And I really want to be very clear about this. It's not a bad thing. It's just that it keeps you at survival level. It really just does. And it wants to defend. It wants to just keep things the same way. And you're not here to keep things the same way. You're here to live the life you want to live. And whatever you really want, that your soul came here to live, I just want you to take a moment and think of this. Back in the day, when there was no way that we could fly to somewhere else, someone woke up and said, I'm going to make something that flies us and cuts the time of us going from one point to another massively. God put that idea into this person. The soul awakened that idea through this person. And that person could have said, oh my God, I listened to my ego. My ego thinks it's so crazy. Who's going to believe me? Where am I going to get funding? I have no money to do this. I can't do this. What's the hell? Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to just keep doing my bicycles. And who would know where we would be today? We might still be taking ships, taking months to get to somewhere else. Just think about that. So at any point, your ego steps in and says, how am I going to even do this? How am I going to find the money to do this? How am I going to get funding to do this? Remember, God put this in your path. The soul awakened this seed of light within you. Will you answer it? Will you let it expand? Eve is saying, I love that. This is mine. Like, yeah, this is mine. It's like that's how it feels like. It's almost like a non-attachment. It's like, that is mine. And I'm not saying from there on, it's not going to feel challenging. It's going to be easy breezy, but it can be effortless actions. And what that means is you're taking actions that are very aligned. Doesn't mean it won't feel like a resistance or a challenge, but it feels so satisfying for your soul. Yes. There's a bigger energy that is driving it than the ego. And it's opening. It's wakeful, it's still, and it always refreshes itself. So it's always overflowing, it's replenishing. It's so delicious. Even in the hardest times, like, let me be real. This work that I do, it's not easy. Coming on here, talking to you, looking at, and I could get into my ego and think, oh, nobody's listening. Oh, they're not responding. Oh, what's the whole point of doing this? My soul is so satisfied just doing this. And I know deep down, this work deserves to be highly compensated, just as your work, your light, what you do so easily, what you love to do can be compensated highly. This is the new generation. We need more women to walk this path, to shine this light, to change the paradigm. We don't need more healers who are broke, who are, not, so afraid to charge, who thinks that they can just give. And this is why they are always exhausted. This is a huge conversation. It's a huge movement. And I really want all of us to be part of this. This is not just for multidimensional women either. It's also for the creatives, for the writers, for the poets, for the singers. I know, Eve, you make incredible music. And also, let's be very real. I want to be very clear. I used to be the one who said, it doesn't matter, like, I'm doing what I love. I don't mind not being paid. I will still do it. Yeah, I know that. I know all of you would feel that way because you love what you do. But from my heart to you, our ancestors are waiting for us to flip the script about this. It's not about being paid. How much are we being paid? It's being highly compensated because we need money in the hands of good women. We need money in the hands of good-hearted women. And it takes money to build empires that are different from what we're living in right now. It takes money to build centers. It takes money to fund, third world countries. It takes money. And if more money can come through to women who have good hearts, for women who are creative, who are spiritually attuned, we can change the world. But we have to walk it. We have to be ready to demand for it. We have to be the one who can really embody this. Of course, this is mine energy. So, matriarchy rising. Yes, Heather. So Carla, I found a way to flip my ego's worrying by taking the questioning and making it a curiosity. I just say take it off the menu. Like, just take it off the table. It's off the table. It's gone. No more questioning. It's like, oh, okay. It's like, oh, that's not aligned with what I'm going for. Off the menu. Not today. Not serving today. And keep doing that to the point where it doesn't even come back anymore. Because sometimes we really, I get what you're saying. I know it's one of the techniques that has been taught as well. But we feed them so much energy sometimes. I decide that I'm feeding energy to my soul. I'm feeding energy to my connection, my relationship with the divine. I'm feeding energy to my limitless potential. I'm feeding energy to how I can be of higher service today. Not convincing, not trying to work out where this thought is coming from. Like, what is it? Like, there's no energy being fed towards it. And without chi moving towards certain something, it will just die. Right? Or it will just transmute into something else. And so it's time. It really is time to really be so powerful, like owning our light. Denise, good point about women needing to step up and out with our gifts. Yes. Yeah. Instead of sending more power to criticizing others and what they're doing, what they're not doing, bring that life force into stepping up and sharing what you are here to share and unapologetically receiving. And this is what I love. It's like willingly giving and graciously receiving. Yes. So willing to give and also gracious in receiving. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Because when I exchange my limitless potential with you, you are also exchanging something in return. Yes? And the most powerful thing I want you to get is you could give it to someone else and you could receive that energy back from somewhere else. It doesn't have to be from this person. For example, I'm here, I'm giving for free, willingly. I'm happy to be here for 1.5 hours. I don't expect every single one of you to jump into my mastermind, but I always receive back in some form or ways. I always do. Someone else out there who's never even seen this live session could tell me, I want to join your mastermind. Maybe a few of you would come and ask me, hey, I want to know more about it. But that doesn't invalidate my worth. That doesn't change what I feel about my work or myself at all. And that's the kind of power that we all have to hold when it comes to our gifts and what we are here to share. And know that it continues to evolve, right? Not attaching to any energetic forms. Etta, what are your suggestions with panic and anxiety and how to let those feelings pass through? My therapist told me to tell myself it is just a feeling and defining just what it is. That is a very Zen way of doing it as well. So I guess your therapist has a point. I can tell you at a larger scale, like emotions are very much energy forms. So there are several ways. And last week I actually spoke about anxiety and panic. You can check, my last live on my Instagram page if you're interested, because it's also about how more light is descending into your body and it needs a place to land. And sometimes when we're not able to do that, if we're not able to hold that, then it will, the mind will start to label that feeling and it will label it as anxiety. It will label it as depression. And that's when we need to start to bring the mind into the body in order for it to get on board with more light coming into the vessel. And expansion is happening. Yes, you're going to a higher frequency. So you need to understand these things, right? These are really powerful psychic openings that often is mistaken. But from what I know about you, because I don't know your whole situation, Etta, I'm not working with you as a mentor-mentee relationship. But what I can tell you, your therapist is on point. And the bigger understanding here, which is something I go deeper into in mentorship, is that and emotions are energy in motion. So you want to imagine that you are in this ocean and the waves are taking you towards a shore, a certain shore. And the powerful thing to do is to let the waves guide you, but you don't identify with the waves. And you don't let the waves sink you. You don't attach to the waves. You're very much aware of, okay, what is this moving through in my body? Instead of labeling it as panic, anxiety, depression, you're really in the body. That's why embodied experiencing is actually a very powerful way to move through. It's not bypassing. It's letting those energy really move through you and release. Because when you release it, you let the earth take it and the earth will transmute it for the highest good. Energy has to move, right? Anytime it stagnates in our bodies, it starts to grow. And that's how cancer cells become real. That's how disease happens. That's how some kind of accident suddenly happens. It's all energy. It all started from the unseen. So learning from the energy level how to work with it is so powerful. It's so powerful. Getting to the place where we can sense subtle energy is part of the work when we work with tea. Yeah. Carla, it's true. It's much easier to close down the whole conversation. Oh yeah, totally. Totally. Etta, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. Oh, that's my pleasure. And Eve is saying thank you too. Amazing. All right. So we have 100 people here. Not too shabby, not too shabby. And we got beautiful Eve on Instagram, which is so beautiful. I love it. And anyone else who joins the replay, drop me a comment, say hello. Don't be shy if you come this far. I love you. Thank you for being here. I'm going to complete today's session today. I think it's beautiful. It's given so much today. And thank you for uplifting me as well. I mean, I came in here, really literally feeling my moon was giving me a little bit of heaviness in my body. But the minute I started to stream and channel, like, I just completely become a different person. It's just so amazing. I love it. I love you. Thank you for being here. And for anyone who wants to chat about working together, drop into my DMs. I would love to serve you, whether it is that you want to join eventually or not. But I look forward to having you. All right, my loves. Big kisses. I love you. And I'll see you very soon. Bye.